shows that the people writing this knows the family and the brothers are important. Even knows that they are successors, this is my view. Now, they don't have to be your view. Don't take my view as your view. I'm just throwing out the view that looks on these things as more than just cute statements or attractive, aphorisms. This is the view that says this is very serious internal argumentation that's being played out through the writing of traditions or episodes or events. And that's terribly important. So my view here is that these people writing this, one, know the family and the brothers and the mother are important, particularly the brothers, and that they are in his entourage and his successors in Palestine. And this is the Pauline view that knows that the brothers, forget the mother at this point, she becomes supernatural later on anyway, but that the brothers are against the Pauline position. And so they have to have the historical supernatural Christ, which is the Pauline Christ, say, who are my brothers and mothers to me? So to me, that's the meaning of that. That's the New Testament code. That's what I'm talking about in my new book. Criticize me as you want. It's a simple argument. You take it as historical, or if you take it as, or you take it as polemical. So you either say, I love that expression, to me the historical Jesus said it. You don't have any further argument than that. That's the argument. And the other side, me, says, no, it's polemics, retrospective polemics. So you choose. And again, Jesus sat down by the sea, chapter 13. Let's see. And he gives another series of aphorisms here, referring to Isaiah and so on. Line 17. For truly I say to you, many prophets and righteous ones desire to see what you have seen, yet did not see, and hear what you had heard. And then he gives the parable of the sower. Interesting, that is introduced by anti-righteous one, and that's very important. Who's the righteous one? James. People like Homey, the circle drawer, if you've read your Josephus, are called the righteous one. Probably an ancestor of James and so on. The Tzaddik. And here's the parable of the tares. And so he gave this parable here. He presented another parable on 24. It's only in Matthew. The kingdom of heaven has come like a man sowing good seed in the field. But while the men slept, his enemy came. There's the enemy terminology. Enemy was the terminology used in the letter of James to refer to the foolish, empty man's approach. Paul speaks in Galatians, how can I, your enemy, have become? Is it by telling truth to you that I am your enemy? That's in Galatians 4, you can find it. In James 4, I can show you James 4 quickly, which is, see, this is why you have to have all these things at your fingertips. You can't just, operate in a vacuum. So look at James 4 quick. I'll tell you here. You adulterers and adulteresses, for do you not know that making yourself a friend of the world turns you into an enemy of God? And then it goes again in the Greek. It continues in my English version. It doesn't. Oh, think you in vain that Scripture. Let's see where it says. And then it repeats. Whoever therefore is minded to be a friend of the world becomes an enemy of God. It's repeated twice in the Greek here. So you say, well, how does that relate to Paul? It does relate to Paul. Because Paul was always accused of making things too easy, of being a friend of what? Friend of men, friend of the world. And therefore turning himself into an enemy of God. How is he a friend of the world? Just, you're saved by grace. You don't have to do anything. What's that famous spiritual grace, famous thing everyone always sings? Yeah, Amazing Grace. What's one of the lines there? By grace, so on and so forth. That's lovely. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just Pauline. It's fine. It's not Palestinian. That's all. By grace, etc., by grace, etc., and that's connected to the faith doctrine, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with having faith, and we all need it. And I agree with you. The law is too onerous for people. I'm not saying that the Paul doctrine doesn't work better in the modern world. No one ever heard me say that. I've only said, although don't think much of it when people get Christ on their deathbed, or Chuck Colson, the dirty tricks guy under Nixon, gets Christ and he's saved. I don't think much of that aspect of it. Or Eldridge Cleaver, the Black Panther leader, suddenly becomes a true believer and he's saved and so on. I'm not against the Black Panthers either. I don't mind Eldridge Cleaver, but I don't think you should take that route out. Works do mean something. Now, in our world, we mean good works. I'll give some charity or something, or pick a person up on the street or something like that. Oh, that's good too. But in the old Palestinian view, you have to understand Ma'asim or Osei Torah, works of the law, works of the Torah. And those are very onerous. Those have to do with purity regulations and lots of other things. And I agree that the Jews themselves even said, hey, this is only for us. It's only a priestly people. And in the old days, even in India, the Brahmins had special legislation that they alone had to fulfill. For instance, a high priest family in the Jewish tradition can't marry a divorcee. That's a work of the law. Not a very elegant one. Don't ask me why, or a foreigner, or something like that, because they want to keep the line pure, I suppose, or whatever. I don't know the whole reason behind it. It doesn't matter to me. But I'm just trying to show you that these things for the priesthood are very special. And the Jews were saying in the Old Testament, we are a people of priests. That is, we are a priestly people for mankind. I know it's arrogant. I'm not blind. I'm not advocating things that are arrogant. I'm just telling you what was, not that I'm approving or disapproving. My job is only to say what is, what happened, not say this is good, this is bad. So the Paul thing is reflective of overseas Gentile Christianity, and the Messiah here has that general characteristic. Except this parable of the tares, which is really weird. It slips in here in Matthew somehow. And to me that shows the polemics here of back and forth parable making. One group taking a parable and throwing it back to the other. You follow me? So mostly we have Pauline type parables here, but occasionally we'll have